Hi, welcome back to Vino Experienza by David Alexander. I have taken a little bit of a long break. This holiday season has been absolutely busy with work, busy around the house, and I'm glad to be back with you and be able to share my heart and some information on wine and maybe some new things as we go through this season. What I wanted to do at the start of this 2026 year, I thought it would be interesting to look at some trends in the wine industry, the wine world. Now, remember, this is being done by just a purely uh, personal viewpoint. This is what I'm experiencing. This is what I'm seeing. And I'm just going to share some things with you. I do have some facts and figures in regards to the wine industry and what's happening right now. But we experienced it even at our shop. We saw a continued decrease in wine sales. Year over year sales are continuing to be down since our high point of COVID 2021, 2020, 2021, that area right there when most people were at home drinking a glass of wine, having a cocktail, because the bars and the restaurants were not open. So everybody basically just retreated back at home, and it increased our wine sales exponentially, incredibly high wine sales. And that, I believe, now many of you that have been in my wine classes at Total Wine and More know that I've talked about this quite a bit. The COVID influence on the wine industry cannot be overstated. I think what happened was, in my opinion, the people in the industry all of a sudden got dollar signs in their eyes. They saw the sales just increasing, exploding, and they thought, "Oh man, what a great time to produce some more wine. Let's flood the market with wine because we have all these potential buyers." And what happened was, in my opinion, I think that there are only so many good quality grapes that are being grown that can be made into wine. So what happened was you flooded the market with all this new wine, and you were using grapes that would have probably never been used for wine consumption. They would probably been best to have used for grape juice or for table grapes, anything other than wine production. And it diluted the entire wine production quality, in my opinion. I think even the top quality wines did not have the same a quality and appealability to the consumer. And what was even worse, some of these wines that were being produced for the market were the more inexpensive entry level wines, $10, $15, that type of thing. And I'm not trying to negate that there aren't some really good $10 to $15 wines, but what happened is they flooded the market with these wines, and realistically they should have never made it to shelf. They should have stayed away, because the young consumer, and we're talking about those people 22 to 28 years old, they're the ones that are primarily going to be consuming those entry level wines at $10 bottle. They're going to take it home. And basically, in my opinion, what happened was they tasted that wine and said, if this is what wine is, I'm not interested. And so we have been losing young people in droves. They just have stopped drinking. Now, many of them have actually stopped drinking alcohol altogether. So it's not just the wine industry, it is every aspect of the spirit and wine market that has lost sales. And part of it is the young people. In fact, I read something, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken, it was Wine Enthusiast, who wrote a article basically looking at that key demographic of 22 to 28-year-old young men. Now, most of those young men, when they're getting 22 years old, they're getting into the workforce, or they may still be in college, that type of thing. And so what are they doing? Are they going out socializing with their friends? Like when I was a young man at that age, sometimes I'd go out and have a beer with my friends. That would be the thing. Well, nowadays, especially after COVID, that was not a thing anymore. We're not going to go out. We're not going to socialize. We're not going to go and drink. We're going to stay home. And maybe my social interaction with my peers is now going to be on my computer. I'm going to do some gaming, and that's where I'm going to interact with people. Or maybe I'm just going to explore gambling. we'll do some gambling at home. And then the other thing, the 3 Gs, I call them, the last one is ganja, is I'm just going to smoke some marijuana. Well, because their experience with alcohol was not very good, or their experience especially with wine, that's my heart is going to be wine. It's not going to be the other spirits. But it's the wine. They've just lost their interest. If this is what wine is about, I'd rather have a cocktail. At least I can enjoy that, or a beer, or maybe I just smoke a joint. Because guess what? I can have a mind-altering experience. I can stay at home, do my gaming, do my gambling. Don't need to go out. Don't need to run the risk of getting sick. And all of a sudden, it's like, oh man, those are the young people that we really want to see enjoy wine, because I really feel wine is an incredible aspect of the human experience. It has been the things that have drawn families together. It has been the things that's used to celebrate milestones in our lives. It has been the thing that we can enjoy with friends and family, a nice bottle of wine as we have a great meal. We were just at some friend's house. We spent 4 hours at the dinner table. We consumed 3 bottles of wine, enjoying each other's company, enjoying a dinner, talking about life, talking about politics, religion, you name it. We've talked about the whole thing. And are we doing that anymore? Have we lost it? And I think that wine is a part of that. And that's kind of my heart. Let's get the young people back to enjoy responsibly. Now, again, I'm not asking for people to abuse alcohol or abuse wine. I want people to drink responsibly. And so anyway, let's look at some numbers for a minute, just for those of you who are geeking out like I am sometimes with these numbers. Okay, from a COVID high to now, year over year, wine sales have dropped. Now, 24 was probably one of the worst years, dropped dramatically. And 2025 didn't drop as much, but we're still going downhill. And this is what's really interesting. And this is what my wife and I are just encouraged to go to local wineries here in Temecula, near to where we live. We're going to go at least once a month, if not a couple times a month, to experience some wineries and have some wine directly from the wineries. Because, believe it or not, direct wine sales, which means that wine sales that are done in the tasting rooms and through their wine clubs, are accounting for 78% of wine sales with most wineries. 78%. So what's being sold in the brick and mortar stores, what's being sold in the restaurants, yes, that's important for them, but realistically, 78% of their sales are really going to be coming from that's direct sales. And that's, I think, partly due to the fact that wine sales have dropped so much, and that's where they're still affecting some percentage growth. And the other kind of discouraging thing, in the last 5 years, the number of vineyards that have been removed. I was just talking to a winemaker the other day, and he said, you know what? For many of these guys, it is cheaper to tear the vines out and to keep the vines there. Now, why don't they just keep them there and let them die? This was interesting. I didn't know this. It's because of infestation with insects and rot on the vines, and it actually will spread to other vineyards around them that may not be decreasing, or in their own vineyards if they take out a section of the vineyard. So they have to remove that vineyard, and then they have to incinerate it, or they have to burn it in some way. He was luckily from Amador County, where he was able to, we can do field burn. So we just pile the vines up and just burn it in the field. But people in Napa and Sonoma have to have people come in and incinerate all that, because it's considered rubbish that needs to be incinerated. It's not something they can just have a big bonfire and burn up the vines. Very interesting. So anyway, and the reasons for this is market oversupply. There's too much wine on the market. Falling consumption, big issue. We're losing consumers. And economic pressures. We're still struggling. People are struggling with, do they have enough money for their day-to-day expenses? And if I do, am I going to spend the money on wine, or am I going to spend the money on food for the table? And then climate change is also affecting some of these vine removals, because what's happening is some of the varietals that would have historically done well in certain areas are not doing so well. It's gotten too hot for them, and so they have to remove some of these vines. or just start over again with something else that is going to work for them in that area. So the major countries that have seen vine removals in the last 5 years: France, US, Chile, and Argentina. Obviously, some of the biggest producers. Italy was also in there, but it's not in that top three. They have experienced a little bit less of the reduction, but still it's happening. But and these numbers, in the year 2000, we had 7.7 million hectares of vines planted around the world, worldwide. In 2024, that went down to 7.1. And you may say, 0.6 million, it can't be that much, right? Well, let's look at that. What does that mean in acres? We're talking about 1.5 million acres of vine reduction throughout the world. Absolutely incredible. And production remains now 7% below the 5-year average. So, gosh, guys, where are we going from here? When I talked to this winemaker, he said, we have not hit rock bottom yet. He has actually been able to, in the industry, obviously, he can go and buy wholesale from other makers. He has a little wine shop, and he actually went to a premium wine company and bought a barrel of wine for like $15, because he said they were going to pour it out. So he says, sure, we'll sell it to you. Incredible things that are happening in the wine world right now. So, guys, let me get my glass of wine here. Here's to reviving the wine industry. I am drinking 216 Miles to Go by Mark Ryan, a brand new wine for me. I'm just going to try it out and see what it is. Cabernet, very good. It's very nice. A little easy drinking. I don't really do much of research on this. It's a 2022 vintage. We are looking at, how many ABV on here? Well, I don't even know. 18 months barrel aged oak, 85% Cab, 10% Merlot, 4% Cab Franc, and some Petit Verdot, and 65% new oak. Really nice wine. Let me see what the ABV is. There is 14.9% ABV. Available at Total Wine. I believe I didn't get the price on this because I got it in my box. I bring home a box of wine, and I think it was probably around $42, $43 for this. Anyway, go and have some. Revive the wine industry with me, okay? Take care. Again, subscribe to the channel. This is Vino Experienza by David Alexander. Bye-bye.